this is the 3-year anniversary, unfortunately, of Kobe Bryant passing away. I always remember where I was at when I was told. But as we know, football players like to be hoopers. And I'm sure you guys hooped, right?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Who was the best hooper during your time at Nebraska besides yourself? Because I'm going to tell you this, DBs and receivers could hoop.
Could hoop. But, see, we had D linemen that could hoop.
Okay.
Kenny Walker.
Oh, yeah. And he was crazy athlete.
Athlete. I mean, physical specimen.
So, breaking rims. Like Shaq Attack.
Dante Jones.
Another.
Harris.
Yeah, right.
I mean, I see Dwayne Harris one step from the free throw line.
Right.
And I was like, oh, my God.
Yeah.
Tommy Frazier was a basketball.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then you had those incoming freshmen. Well, in my years, you had Barron Miles, Lorenzo Brinkley.
Who could hoop? Both of them could hoop.
Yeah. And go up and get it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? People didn't.
So you had a good intramural team.
We won it.
Yeah.
We won it. So, but Ernie Beeler was a safety. He could play. He was from Jersey.
Yeah.
Of course. But the big boys, I was very impressed with how the big boys play basketball.
Right. I always tell people, if in this day and age, if you're running an RPO type of offense, and I remember Urban Meyer talking about Tim Tebow, that if you're a quarterback, dual threat or whatever you want to call it, you have to be able. To me, you'd have to be able to play basketball. You don't have to be good, but I want to see you play because the ability to make quick judgments, handle the ball without looking at your feet and all that stuff. That's transferable to the football field. And if you can do it on the basketball court in tight spaces, because you don't have a big old field, you definitely can do it on a football field. And he was telling a story about Tim Tebow that he went and watched. He went for two things. And there's also a funny story about Nick Saban as well, is that he wanted to see if he competed in every sport that he did, which obviously Tim Tebow did. And he wanted to see how he handled the basketball. Those are two things he looked for. He didn't even worry about if you score or nothing. And he said Tim Tebow wasn't a full-time starter. So, he'd come in and get fouls, rebound, but he played hard and he could handle the ball. The funny thing about it is my two daughters live in Charlotte. And they go to Myers Park, who's a pretty good high school in every sport. But they had Alabama has a quarterback from their high school. So I was down there visiting them. And so I was like, all right, let's just go see some basketball, something different, Well, the starting quarterback is he actually ended up being all-state power forward. Guess who's in the crowd?
Nick
Saban. Watching, sitting front row. Just watching how he competed, how he was as a teammate, how he moved his feet, and how he can make decisions.
We talked about that earlier. I love watching. If a kid plays basketball in high school, football player that you're recruiting, turn on his basketball film.
Right.
You'll learn a lot about a kid.
Right.
Less space. Does he compete?
Does he like contact?
Right. Can he get off the floor? Does he have good quickness?
Right.
If he's a point guard, can he handle the ball?
Leadership skills. Deal with adversity.
Yes.
High pressure situations. Will he maybe if he's not a really good, skillful basketball player, will he make the right decision under pressure? Is he all about himself? Those are all the things that you can get that we talked about, where you can't really measure a kid's heart and all that, but you can see it or verify what you initially thought. Or it might turn you off. And Zach Weger's going into the College Football Hall of Fame. Zach could hoop. He could hoop. People didn't realize he could hoop. Matter of fact, I think Zach came on and said he was sick his senior year, so they came and watched him play basketball, and that's how he got recruited.
Good athlete.
Big Buddha, Joe Wilkes can hoop.
Oh yeah,
he could really hoop. Now we both know Rob Zadeka couldn't hoop.
No, he can't play.
Now Rob had muscles by the time he was 8 years old. He ain't have no jumper, nothing, but I'm sure he get you some board. He probably said hell of 5 picks though,
and get you some rebounds.
Right, and some fouls. Right,
got to use all 5.
Now Brendan Steyer, I don't know. No, Brendan Steyer, he gonna foul you though.
Now Brendan actually played racquetball against me. He's actually got pretty good feet.
He had good feet. I just don't know if I can see him on the basketball court because I think Brendan back then, when he blow his top, he just tearing everybody up. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, well, we had some athletic kids.
Yeah, man. I mean, you had to. You had to. Coach Brown and them came to my basketball game. I mean, and I understand it's more competitive. Now, it is more. This is what I want to ask you. Since it's so competitive early in their high school careers to get scholarships, where you got to play 7-on-7, you got to have trainers, you got to kind of pick your sport and almost pick your position. By the time you're in ninth grade, and sometimes earlier, depends, down in Texas, they're looking at their 6th, 7th, 8th graders who's going to be the starters. How much does that help somebody to do it, to be in that type of, arena? And how much does it hurt players not to be a multi-sport athlete once they get to college? Because do you see a lot of guys that have peaked at high school and then get to college and you don't see the gradual – because everybody's worried about development, right?
Yes.
But if you get Jay Foreman, 185, 90 pounds is different leaving at 235 and getting in the weight program, 3 square meals a day, extra if you're really cool with art and all that type of stuff, versus if I'm already tapped out. Where do you think the go-between is? Because you want guys ready to play early because that's what, verifies your recruiting rankings. But then also you want to be able to develop players to end their career better off than when they came in.
I always tell people play multiple sports.
Right.
I like multiple sport athletes. Football player, wrestlers.
Right. Oh yeah.
Wrestlers. They're borderline crazy.
Well, you got to be self-motivated.
Yeah.
And you got to not eat for a day and spit all day and wear them suits and stuff. Just to make
in the same room in the sauna.
Right. Just be mad at the world.
Wrestlers.
Yeah.
And then basketball players, again, like we said, you can get off the floor, you have good quickness. So I always encourage multiple sport athletes.
Right.
So you won't just tap out in that one sport too early.
In your opinion, do you think a lot of kids show up closer to their ceiling now coming out of high school because of, trainers and, maxed out almost?
I do.
Yeah.
I think some kids overtrain
before they get here.
You can overtrain.
Right.
You think you need to put on muscle. You think you need to put on weight. It could be bad weight.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, we've seen it.
Yeah. Even with transfers.
Right. Yeah, yeah.
Bad weight.
Yeah.
So don't rush the process.
Right.
You know what I mean? I didn't have a personal trainer. My uncle was my trainer.
Right.
He dropped me off at a local park.
Right. So see you later.
Yeah. You have this amount of time to make it back to the house.
Right.
If you don't, I'm taking you back. You're going to start all over again.
Right.
So I couldn't afford to go to no camps and all that.
Right.
But in the southern states, football's year-round.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now in the Midwest, I know in Missouri, they just started having.
Yep. I think they just started. They're trying to vote on it for Ohio because I know Bobby Carpenter, which is crazy, where you think just the state of Ohio pretty much funds Ohio State and a little bit of Michigan. Now they're trying to catch up, probably because they see the transition that all the national championships are down south and more depth of players. I always wanted to ask, why coaches are so impatient to let a kid develop. You know what I mean? Whereas, is it because they don't have a detailed plan, or kids won't, I guess, quote unquote, buy in? Because, for me, Coach Osborne said, yeah, you're good enough to play or be on the roster. I was like, man, I'm redshirting. I don't know what you're thinking. But I already know I'm redshirting, okay? I don't know what you're thinking. This dude need to redshirt because I ain't never lift weights, and Troy Dumas look a lot different than me. So I am not going out there and wasting a year of my football career when I can sit here and kind of, figure it out.
We need more guys to think like that. You can think you're ready.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I said, you were the man in high school.
Right.
I was the man in high school and I was the man in junior college.
Right.
When I got here, I'm like, nah,
yeah,
I'm not ready. Much as I thought I was ready.
Yeah.
$170 soaking wet.
Right.
5'8".
Right.
Nah, I'm not ready.
Do you think so? But then with these kids, is it on the coach or the recruiting coordinators to say, hey, this is what we have for you? And if it's detailed enough, I think more kids will buy into it versus, hey, yeah, if you're good enough. Because here's what I have a problem with. If you have 30 recruits and you tell them, well, if you're good enough, we'll play you. Well, they're not going to think, what if I'm not good enough? Because they've always been good enough. And as a matter of fact, they've always been better than everybody.
Yes.
And any competition that they've ever had to go into, they most likely have came out on top or close to it. So I think if you really want to try to have a developmental type of program, and it's a selling point too.
Yes.
For parents, I'm thinking of if they came in and tried to recruit, me right now with Chuck Foreman, if you have a pamphlet, like a year by year type of deal, I'm like, okay, I see they got a plan for me. They actually are really thinking about my future versus say, hey, yeah, you could play. And I come down here and, if I don't really know the difference between Troy Dumas and myself, I'm doing good in a couple of practices, but he's been doing good for a couple of years. I need to be out there. Well, then, you know what the first reaction is? You lied to me, bump it. I'm in the portal. And next thing you know, I'm at another school.
They want it now.
Right.
They don't want to work for it. Like you said, you came here and Troy Dumas looked like
I was like, hey,
yeah,
I ain't. He a defensive end.
Playing linebacker. So that's the attitude a lot of kids need to take.
Right.
But will they do it? You've been told how good you are since you were in 8th grade,
right?
6th grade, or you gonna make it to the NFL,
right?
Never been told no, so your mind is already, I'm better than. It's already warped,
right?
I'm not saying not to have dreams and goals, but when you get to that next level, there's going to be guys just as good as you, if not better,
right?
So you have to look yourself in the mirror, say, hey, do I want to battle it out,
right,
and possibly have to redshirt, or do I want to say I'm better when I know I'm not, and then jump in the portal?
Right.
That's on you.